Elon's Twitter takeover, not going well, guys, to say the least. Holy shit. Like, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to go terribly well, but holy fuck, it's not going well. And he's out here malding in public now. Dropped this banger this morning. Twitter has a massive drop in revenue. LOL. Elon Musk posting his L's. Am I right? Twitter had a massive drop in revenue. Yeah, I wonder why, motherfucker. Due to activist group pressuring advertisers, even though nothing has changed with content moderation and we did everything we could to appease the activists. Literally, like, wasn't the N-word like trending on Twitter the day that Elon Musk took over? And he was like, basically saying that it was going to be a free-for-all and that no one would get censored and that all the banned accounts would be brought back, which, again, you can have whatever opinion you want on wherever you stand on the First Amendment. That is what he was saying. And the day he took over, the N-word was trending. People were posting all kinds of crazy shit. It's really not that surprising that the advertisers started fleeing. And it's not because left-wing radical activists trying to cancel Twitter or whatever. It's because the advertisers saw where this was headed, thanks to Elon's own rhetoric and the people that Elon has been coddling with and aligning himself with for the last couple of years now, and said, yeah, probably not a good idea. Anyway, Elon then follows that up by saying, extremely messed up. They're trying to destroy free speech in America, even though Elon himself just posted yesterday that he would be installing a censorship board, a content moderation board made up by people from the Anti-Defamation League and the George Bush Library. He's the one imposing censorship on Twitter. Again, he got called out by his own cronies on the right wing for that. They were like, what the fuck, bro? This is what you said you were opposed to. This is what you said you were going to fix. You're just going to reinstitute the same sort of content moderation board that was there before you got here? What the fuck?
Oh God, yeah, it's such a self-own, an own goal, if you will, right? Like his whole point in buying Twitter, right, was because he wanted to be the free speech zealot, right, and change it, right? And now he's like, even though nothing has changed with content moderation, and we did everything we could to appease. So if nothing changed, why did you buy Twitter? And then it's like, no, you realize, like we talked about this yesterday, right? We talked about how, like, you know, conservatives are in love with the like invisible hand of the marketplace until it takes all of its ad dollars away, because they've said a bunch of cringy shit that makes the product way less valuable to the people. It has way less value now. So yeah, it's absolutely insane. And think that he didn't consider any of this before he did his massive takeover. I mean, he probably did, and that's why he got cold feet to begin with, but he had already gone so deep with such an valuated offer, right? Like Twitter was not worth $44 billion, guys. It's worth like fucking $10 billion, $15 billion, really. And he would be just barely hanging on if he bought it for like $35 billion. Okay. So this massive debt takeover is why he's doing all this shit. Like there's currently a class action lawsuit. I don't know if we were going to get to this in a second, but there's currently a class action lawsuit against the guy because after his massive takeover, you're supposed to give people 60 days notice that they're going to be terminated from their job. But instead, he's just going buck wild and about to lay off 50% of the staff and doing it so cavalierly, right, that it just really makes you hate the guy. Like he brings in the kitchen sink and it's just like, bro, you are never going to have to worry about money again. The guy that you fucking hired to code that has $100,000 in fucking college debt, was banking on this being, a job that, they could finally start to dig themselves out of that hole. Those are the people that are going to get on the chopping block. So yeah, no wonder everybody hates you now. And you basically brought it on him. He brought it on himself. He's reaping exactly what he sowed.
Absolutely. If you want to pull up an article about the Twitter layoffs, if you want to talk more about that. But I did see a tweet from Joshua Hill that I thought really summed up the situation perfectly, really said it better than I could have. So I'll just throw that up here. Musk firing half of the workers at Twitter while complaining that the woke left is ruining the platform is the perfect summary of the current conservatives movement. Get power, make things worse, play the victim, which is exactly what Elon Musk did immediately after taking control of Twitter. Like, bro, whatever happened to personal responsibility? Again, you're the one that's been aligning yourself with the right wing now for a couple of years, really embedding yourself deep in the trenches of a right-wing online discourse. And again, to tweet this out, they're trying to destroy free speech in America the day after you posted this, which got you called out by right-wingers en masse, which we covered on the show yesterday. Again, Mike Cernovich was pissed off about this. A bunch of people on the right wing were pissed off about this, Jack Posobiec, etc. Because Elon put this out about he was talking to civil society leaders from the Anti-Defamation League and from the Bush Presidential Library to continue to combat hate and harassment and enforce an election integrity policies, which again, whatever you personally feel about the First Amendment, whatever you personally feel about whether or not free speech should truly be allowed on private social media platforms, this is exactly what he was suggesting he was going to fix. Like, this was his whole point of buying Twitter in the first place, was he was like, this is beyond the pale. They're having these policies enforced to combat hate and harassment and misinformation and election integrity bullshit. We got to stop this. That's why I'm going to buy Twitter and get rid of all of these censorious content moderation boards and misinformation experts and warnings and flags when something is posted that isn't accurate. But again, so he was called out by the right wing for doing that yesterday. We talked about it. But now he's out here saying that the liberals and the activists are trying to destroy free speech in America, even though what they're trying to do or what they want is exactly what you want and exactly what you were suggesting that you were going to continue doing.
Yeah, it's a head scratcher, right? Because it's like, for as much money as this guy has, he really does just come across as dumb as rocks, man. He just comes across as dumb as rocks and just acted entirely on hubris and like fucking lack of impulse control, and the fact that he was the richest man in the world and he could do whatever he wanted, and Twitter was going to be such an easy ship to run if he ran it. And that's kind of the way that he does everything. Like, people still have it in their brain that he like somehow like invented like modern electric cars or something with Tesla. It's like, no, he acquired a company that had all that tech already ironed out, and he did a pretty piss poor job of running it. Frankly, he had a massive amount of cash injections. He got subsidies from the government, and he really wasn't running the company that well, actually. And there was a lot of doubt a lot of times. And it was actually because of how poorly he was running the company that we got to see all those puff pieces written about it. It was like, Elon reaches into his own pocket to do payroll. It's like, yeah, that's because you run the company into the damn ground. It's not making any money. You can't pay people. How is that a W for your business acumen? Right? Same kind of a deal here at Twitter, right? He's fumbling and fucking it up. Like, he did one, like, if you want to credit him to something, he probably did do a lot of the coding on like X.com and PayPal, and he had a fuck ton of money, but he was probably overseeing it and doing some shit on the ground. So what? Do you know how many people invented websites at that time? It doesn't mean that I don't know. It's just insane that people have just given this guy this like, Rogan would always like include him on his list of people that should be included in like a tribe of elders. Like, people really know what's going on and need to make decisions. Clearly, this guy does not know how to make critical decisions. One, because he wouldn't have put himself in such a massive like leveraged position on Twitter, and two, just because, I mean, making like negotiating online and trying to meme your way to saving a company, not gonna work.